Welcome to the good, the bad, and the sequel with your hosts, Doug and Jamie.
Merry, Merry Christmas, baby. I hear you've been fooling around again.
This is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in two parts. The first, an interview with an actor or someone involved that made the film worth watching. And the second, a discussion of the sequel, what they got wrong, right? What they got wrong and how it could have been better. I really hope you enjoyed last week's interview with Jack Frost's victim, Stephanie Chow Parks. She plays Cindy. She gets killed in the pool. We're going to talk about that a lot too. She talked about being in Linkin Park's first music video. She was on the set of the movie that Ben Stiller and his wife, Christine Taylor, met. So if you're like, wow, that's amazing, after this, go back and check it out, sequelsonly.com. But before we sink our teeth into our the most fitting last sequel of what the shitty year 2020 has been, we have Jack Frost 2. Can't believe they made a second one. I'm thankful that they did. And it's the Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman. But before I unpack any of this, I got to introduce you to my partner in this sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how are you?
Well, 2020 has been a rough year for pretty much everybody. And, when you think it can't get any worse, and I mean, we're talking about, a lot of horrible things happened this year. This ending the year with only a few weeks left, I'm watching this movie was typical of 2020. I honestly think, and we've reviewed a lot of bad movies, this might be one, if not the worst movie I have ever seen in my life.
Well, I can tell you we'll get into all that, like where it might rank. We could talk about that later, but I can tell you right off the bat, worse puppeteering than Munchie. It makes Munchie look like Jim Henson.
Wait, there was puppeteering in this movie? First of all, I feel like this movie was filmed at someone's house. Like the entire movie was filmed at someone's house. That they try to make like a tropical island. And we'll talk about some of the puppets, but they look like the when you saw the baby snowballs, they look like when you go to a hotel and the maid makes like an animal out of like white towels. That's what this baby snowballs look like. They look like they were made out of like towels into a ball.
And the fact, just everything that had to do with them and how they moved, it was pretty unbelievable.
They moved? I mean, like
they sort of moved. Well, I wouldn't say they like really moved. They made it sound like they were moving, and people moved to make it look like they moved.
I might have seen a couple of hands coming in a way of moving them too in this movie. I mean, this movie felt like it was filmed in a camcorder, like a bunch of drunk people saying, hey, let's just make a movie and just have fun with it. That's what it looks like. It really looks like I think the whole movie takes place at someone's house, like the backyard, the inside, like it really is someone's house. I wouldn't be surprised.
And because we have to get into it, but it reminded me of like 12-year-old Doug, like stumbling across like Skinamax. I'm telling you, the cameras they used for this was, I bet they could have like.
Well, I don't know what kind of Skinamax were you watching when you were younger? But the Skinamax I saw when I was younger had looked nothing like this.
You're saying it looked better than this?
Well, they were skin. I mean, there was barely any skin in it. So there was barely any skin in this movie.
Oh, I don't mean that. I'm talking about the way it was shot, not the nudity. I'm talking about like just the camera.
Yes.
It had the same feel and the way and the cutaways and oh my God, the scenery, like the setting, like whoever was like the set designer or production designer, go home. That was bad.
Even the accents were horrible. There was not, and I don't like the basher movie because when we get someone that interviews, that's willing to interview us, I appreciate it, and I don't want to bash their work, and I'm not bashing their work because the person we interviewed probably had the best scene in the movie. I mean, but I mean, just everything. It was just unlikable characters, and this movie's called Jack Frost 2. Now I never saw the first one, but I think the Killer Snowman is in this movie maybe a total of 5 minutes, like total screen time, maybe 5 minutes.
It's like Jaws, but in a bad version of it.
A very bad version. I think he was a carrot more than he was the snowman.
The whole carrot thing, there's a lot. We have to unpack like the whole thing.
you got to unpack it because there's more than just a carrot between the ice cubes, the carrot. Yeah. So.
Oh my God, the ice cubes. I was jealous of the ice cubes, I think. But so the way this movie starts off, again, I know people have like bit parts on TV shows, but you see them as that character. You're like, you're blank, you know? When I saw Mr. Pitt from Seinfeld in this, dude, the whole beginning scene of this movie with the psychiatrist and the secretary listening in, you knew right off the bat, this thing was going to hell in a handbasket. Quick.
Oh, without a doubt. But it was so corny and just you knew. But one question I had about that guy. So he's a cop. How is he still a cop? Because he's clearly a mess. You know, like he shouldn't carry a badge or a gun.
Oh, no gun at all. And then later in the movie, he regresses. At this point, he's like into like remembering everything. And then he almost turns into like a child at one point. So yeah, I hope he doesn't have a gun at all.
And, I want to say one last thing. There's absolutely no likable characters in this entire movie. Like there's not one character you want to root for. There was, I think every single character in the movie, I hated.
You didn't like the Colonel?
Well, Colonel Mustard? No, I didn't like Colonel Mustard. I hated Mr. Fun or what's it, Captain Fun?
Captain Fun?
Hated him. You know, the annoying couple that, I mean, you're so the movie takes place on basically having a wedding. Someone's getting married and you pick people that are like in their 50s to get married. I mean, like they couldn't pick like the 20-year-olds, like had to be 50-year-olds.
I guess they would have to cast more people. Like if they had a young and then they have to bring friends. But no, that whole part of the movie made absolutely no sense. But real quick, the Colonel in this movie was extremely, obviously he's British, but he was extremely like racist towards like Indian and the army. He told the same stories about I was cornered by the Punjabis, and you're like, okay, dude, we don't need to hear this. He's comparing a Punjabi like like an army to little snowballs in a forest. He
looks like he was pulled out of Jumanji.
Oh yeah, like, he was the guy from Jumanji.
he was the guy from like it looks like he was pulled right from the safari, right from the whatever he's doing, and pulled into the real world from Jumanji. That's what he looked. That's the character who was playing.
100%. And then so back to the secretary is listening to the conversation. Another guy comes over and he goes, come on. And it just so happens that a construction worker and a nurse were walking about. So where is this guy's doctor's office? Like what's happening there? Is it in a hospital that's having construction? The guy was clean. The construction worker, completely brand new, yellow protective vest, everything. Even had a hard hat on inside.
Do you think that's very professional though to do that? Like, do you think like psychiatrists really do that? Like, I've never been to one, but I mean, like, do you think when they hear like a crazy story, they're like, come on, I gotta share this. I can't keep this in. Do you think that happens?
Well, obviously they have more responsibility than we did, but we would share stories about people we would go talk to on the phone with. True Green, listen, we were salesmen together and we listened to their voicemails. So I would think they would have to like, maybe within psychiatrist friends, like once a month they get together over like a bottle of, whiskey or something. Cause there's probably some good ones. I'd like to be a fly on the wall for them.
Oh, easily.
What would somebody say with this one? Because nobody believes that this really happened. Even the people that were with him are like, come on, dude, get over that killer snowman that killed everyone in your town.
So, okay. So I never saw that. Did you ever see the first one?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So, we see this a lot in movies where, something very bizarre happens with multiple people and, like somehow no one ever hears about it. So I'm assuming in the first movie, Jack Frost killed a bunch of people, right? Yeah. Did they how did it end? Did people were there other witnesses to Jack Frost?
Oh yeah, there's a ton of people. No, the whole town.
Okay.
The town of
you would think okay. so you would think that this would, I mean, if there is a killer snowman somewhere, and a bunch of people know, you would think it would be on the news. So how can a psychiatrist not believe it and make fun of this guy?
And I'm guessing the psychiatrist is in the same town. Like he should know about it. But at least like when they get to the island, I get maybe people should see it on the news. But like the other movies that we covered, like how does somebody move to the town where Freddy Krueger is and be like,
right,
Freddy Krueger, who's that? It's like, what do you mean?
But
who's
you know
that?
I didn't even think about that. So the psychiatrist, because the guy's still living in the same town, correct?
Oh yeah.
So the psychiatrist is in that town. So he's quite aware of what happened years previous.
100%.
Or
yeah,
was it years? Or how?
It was probably only like 4 years release time. It's 4 years movie wise, but yeah.
Okay.
But one thing I do like I say over and over again, there's a lot of important things in my life. My daughter, my wife, but one thing that really I hold near and dear to my heart is a good title card. And the fact that at the beginning of this movie, at least we got something, we had a little bit of a story in the beginning, and then boom, it pops up.
Was there a story though? Like they didn't really explain what they were doing.
Well, kind of. What he says is like, oh, where's Jack Frost again? Because remember the secretary picked up and he was like, he was startled. And then he's like, go on, tell me how you killed him again. And he tells a story about the antifreeze. He put him in the antifreeze. We buried it. Again, stupid. But the scientists that went to, I guess, to go back and dig it, like it was a mystery person that had taken digging for the antifreeze. They didn't explain who they were or why they're doing it. That's true. But just before that, at least we got that redneck guy. Didn't the redneck guy sound like the?
Yes. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Back to the Future 3.
Dog? Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
He sounded like he sounded like he was trying to sound like the guy that does the voice. But totally.
But no, it was so good. He's like, oh, this here where they buried the. And I'm like, okay. And then you're right. And I love that whole part. And that it's just like science footage, like stock science footage that you or I could go buy right now online for like a couple $100. And I just love everything about it. And I love the Merry Christmas song that was sung by somebody that was legit. They said when you go into the studio, try to sing like Bruce Willis, because that's the way the person sang in the song. It was horrible.
I honestly had no idea what they were doing in the scene. I mean, I know they were testing on it, but then you got the coffee mug and you got a fish tank of antifreeze, I guess, or what was like? They didn't explain any of that. I guess they just needed a reason to unbury him, dig him up. But I just didn't like. Do you have any idea what they were doing?
No, I don't think they know. Okay. But I would say the fact that the scientists, like a scientist, you think. I'm not saying scientists have to drink a certain thing, but I'm guessing in that cup was hot cocoa, right? 100%. It must
coffee, hot cocoa. Sure.
Hot cocoa goes with frosty, I guess, a little bit more. But the fact that you saw the guy, like the cleaning guy come in, just bump, and then it hit it. But I did, again, this movie's not good. But some of the kills in the movie are pretty cool. Because the thing that's really cool about this guy that did these movies, his name's Michael Clooney. I wish he was related to George. He's not. But the first one he made was kind of like, I'm trying to compare it to another movie. It was like all shot in like 93, 94. Because when I first saw the original, it came out like 97. So it was right around the same time as American Pie. And I'm like, how the hell did they get Shannon Elizabeth in this movie? Like, oh my God, she's amazing. She shot it before she was anybody. But he does everything himself. Like all the special effects and stuff. It's all this guy.
So it's his house to film. It's his house they're filming it.
And his mom's camcorder. But it took like 3 years for him to edit, put together. So I don't know what about this one. But
Wait. It took 3 years to edit this movie?
Well, I think to do some of the special effects and stuff, because everything was shot back.
There were special effects in this movie?
Well, yeah, what do you think? A real snow? You think they really froze that fish tank full of antifreeze that exploded and chopped the janitor's head in half?
Oh my goodness! This is I can't. Now, was this the same writer of this movie of the first movie or no? Like, are they?
Yeah, same guy, writer, director, visionary, Michael Clooney.
So was the first one a hit? For like a cult, I guess it was probably a decent hit, right? Like, I mean, enough to make a sequel, right?
Yeah, it was in like I remember seeing it at like Blockbuster and Hollywood
Okay.
Video, and
So his idea of a sequel was to bring a snowman to a place where he possibly should not survive on a tropical island. Like
Okay.
that
I'm gonna have to say again, it's not good, but it's ballsy. He could have done like in another town nearby or something else, but the fact that he took it's a true fish out of water story.
Listen, ballsy. He could have went to the zoo and it would have been more plausible. He went to the one place he possibly should not be. The minute the snowman gets on sand, he should melt right away. So, like, I think right away, I don't know if this guy was drunk or high when he wrote it, but that's not a good start. A tropical island for a snowman. I mean, horrible.
You ready for this? I'll tell you this now because I was going to save this to the end. But he's actually thinking about making a third one. In 2016, he was asked about it. He wanted to do a sequel that featured a giant Jack Frost known as Jackzilla.
Which makes sense at the end of the movie.
Oh, no, I know, dude. That was insane, too.
Did you see the end credit, too?
Yes, we'll get into that.
Okay, I'll get to that. Okay,
yeah,
all
no,
right,
I know.
all right.
No, but so here's an alternate. We usually do this at the end, but perfect place to film it. Why not have like in a supermarket or somewhere cold and he's in there like terrorizing the people? It could have been a little bit more scary, but no, you're right. As soon as it's an island, you're like, what's happening?
What about the North Pole and he's terrorizing elves?
Oh, and then I mean, like a true Christmas movie,
right? I mean, again, it's cold, it's snow. I mean, he's going the sun where people are getting sunburn, and he's not. I mean, let's get to him.
So I have to confess something a little bit, and I don't want you to fall over or anything, but I did like his voice, and I did like his one-liners.
Well, all you heard was his voice. Like, I mean, like, yes, you know what? They try to make this obviously a horror comedy, but again, not knowing the way they bring Jack Frost to the screen is ridiculous. Like the pieces here and there, like it's so forced, and then you don't even see him. Like you really don't see this. I feel like, was the budget better in the first movie? Because I feel like you see him more. I feel like you see him more in the first movie than you do in this one.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I don't know. I couldn't find the budget for this one. I looked, but no, I know. I think they were doing that whole like the reveal to finally see him. But the fact that you hear his voice,
I know,
when it's going, he escapes through a drain.
So here's my like the one question I had. I have a lot of questions, but
okay.
All right. So he escapes in a drain, but somehow is in the middle of the ocean.
Oh no, I know. And wait, so real quick. So is he in that little bit of water or is he in a carrot?
That, I mean, well, he it's again, is he a soul?
How does he become a carrot?
It's just ridiculous. Well, he becomes an ice cube too. Like it doesn't, they don't explain any of that. And I also, I mean, you know, speaking of the carrots, when you have the two castaways on the boat, they just happen to have a carrot aboard. Like, you know, like where'd that come from? And it looked like a pretty
do you think they just happen to have one, or he was it and he put himself in there? That's what I don't know.
No, because it was in a lunchbox. No, he was in the water still because he killed the guy. Like he was talking to them through the water. Remember, he was talking like it.
Yeah,
you hear him talking in his head. So he was in the water still. So, you know, because he said all we have is a carrot. He goes, "What happened to the candy or something like that?" And the other guy ate it. So basically, all they had was a candy bar and a carrot.
Yeah, I know. And the fact that the guy like they just trusted each other not to. Yeah. But no, I know you mean like you saw the POV of him under the raft and like talking and but just how does he turn into the carrot, and what is he? Like, is he like a little bit of water in the ocean? Because wouldn't that like just get into the ocean and spread out and dissolve? And any scientist or water molecule.
Does water through a drain go to the ocean?
Maybe eventually. It's better that than what if they had like a really long scene? Like he goes through the drain, lands on somebody's like hat, and then they go to the water through that.
I would have preferred him like falling in a toilet bowl and then see like the traveling through the like going to the drain. I don't know. I mean,
What
again,
if
the
Jack
drain
took over his body like Jason Goes to Hell? Do you think we can get that?
Yeah, but this is kind of like that because he basically takes over every like part of like the scarf, the carrot, ice cubes, like anything. Like he takes the part of each thing he touches, I guess, but he doesn't really touch it. Like so, like right. I mean, you don't see him until later on when you see his hand, but like you don't see like when he becomes the carrot in the ice cube, you don't see his hands.
Oh no, you don't at all. And again, I know for him to become a carrot is silly. I know, Snowman, Jack Frost has a carrot, but for him to become an ice cube, I guess that's still in the same realm of what he is.
Correct.
But
shouldn't he? So he should have been the ice cube before the carrot, because that's part of what he is. You know, like, and the fact that the carrot was moving by a string, like when it was talking, like they were shaking the carrot back and forth.
It's just like, tropical island. No, I know. It's so ridiculous. And the one guy on the raft is a pretty big actor. He was in a ton of stuff. He was Billy in Hocus Pocus, Doug Jones. The fact that he's in this movie, I don't know. Some of these people, even Jennifer Lyons, dude, again, you work, you make money, I get it. But to see these people in it, man, this guy must have sold them on something.
Yeah, but was it before Hocus Pocus?
No, this is after Hocus Pocus.
Oh, it is.
By like 7 years, yeah. But yeah, so this whole fact that they're starting to fight over the carrot, the one guy gets taken over, gets pulled under. Again, we don't know what's pulling him. Is it just the water? Yeah. And then Doug Jones is like laying there, right? He grabs he's holding the carrot, and then he gets an icicle through.
Oh, he drops the carrot. He drops the carrot in the water, and then the carrot pierces. And then Jack Frost, I guess, as the carrot stabs him with the carrot.
No, it was an icicle that went through him.
Oh, it was okay, because I thought it was the carrot at first. I thought he got stabbed by the carrot.
No, it was. No, I know. If that, again, that wouldn't make sense, but that would make more sense. But the icicle goes through him. I'm like, wait, he's an icicle? How?
Well, there's a lot of icicles. That seems to be his go-to method.
Yeah. And like we talked about before, the setting of this, it's definitely shot somewhere in California. And they should have tried a little bit with it was like called like the Tropical Bar. And then the pool sign looks like something you could rent at Party City. Or
I'm telling you, I bet you if you look it up, it was filmed in one location and they just put like a tent outside to make a fake bar. They put the fake snow in the back, like it because the inside looks like someone's house. You know, it's total. I bet you it was filmed all in one location.
Oh my God. And then we see some of the guests we just mentioned, Jennifer Lyons, who's going to be in an upcoming interview. She was in Dorm Days 1 and 2. She was on Married with Children, and she's in this.
Well, you know, it's funny. So when they arrive, the guests arrive and the Colonel sees them. Now, this is the first time he's meeting them, correct? Because they're on vacation.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
How does he know each person by name and why they're there? Because he goes through the list of, he goes, that's her and she's looking for this, and that's so-and-so and she's looking for this. And like, he knew everybody before they even got there.
Yeah, and the first one was pretty uncomfortable because Jennifer Lyons and her hot friends. And when they get off, he's like, first vacation without their parents. I'm like, what? Do they say that during the reservation? Is he? That's what I mean. The Colonel, he's picking up the phone. He's like, how many rooms?
Those girls were in the movie way too little. Like, I would prefer like the couple getting married to die first and keep those girls around.
I agree with that. But no, it made no sense to have them around. You had like a little thing with them a little bit with those guys in a way. But no, that was so, again, they just got rid of them too much. And then you see all these young people. You see the blonde that we were talking about before we went on. I'm like, man, she looks so familiar. Her and Stephanie Chow Parks, they're there for like a photo shoot. And you're like, all right, cool. All these young people are getting a party. And then two couple of old fogies get off, and he knows everything about those people too. It's just, again, how does he know this? We have no idea.
Yeah. It's very weird.
Maybe he's military. Maybe he was like M6 in England, and he like gets intel on all these people. Or he's just a good guesser because he was pretty much on the nose for everything.
Maybe he's a creeper. I mean, he's kind of creepy the whole movie, you know. So maybe he's a creeper.
No, he's definitely, and I don't understand why he's trying to hide it later. It's almost like as if we'll talk about it later when we get into it, but like he has no motive to not want people to know that, like to call the cops. He was like nervous to like let the cops know, which why? Huh. And then we see like the first time they're at the bar, Jennifer Lyons and her friends, and they say, "Ooh, those are a couple of bad boys." And I'm like, they could at least, because especially you have like three very attractive girls. You have two of the nerdiest, dorkiest looking guys.
But they were the typical like what they say? Like what was their response? Like it was like one word responses. Like,
dude, bro. What do you say? They talk like stoners later in the movie.
Yeah. They was just so stupid. Well, first of all, they were weren't they hitting on someone else? And then was it the main character? Didn't they hit on him or something like that? Or they hit on someone else first, and then the bartender, he told them the guys behind him.
Yeah, they were hitting on Sam. Yeah, they were looking at Sam.
Yeah.
No, definitely. And then how about we talked about him before, Captain Fun? Which is funny. Is that a real thing at places? Like I've been to Mexico a few times. Is there really somebody that has that job?
Yes, because I've been to all inclusive, and it's there's someone. It's kind of like the ringleader that set up all the games. Yeah, well, I mean, look at our podcast.
That's true.
So
sequel money.
That is. But yeah, it's the guy that sets up all the games and like he's the entertainment. Getting people involved. I'm not sure if his job allows him to get in the middle of someone sleeping with his wife, I mean, like he does in this movie. That's a little weird, but yeah, there is actually a role like that.
Because when I saw that, I was like, man, dude, Broken Lizards Club Drag came out a few years after this. I'm like, they wouldn't steal that idea because it's the same thing. He was the fun police. But the fact that this guy's first friggin' line in this movie, again, Sam, you're traumatized a year later, you have to pull that scar off. Even though I know you're not in Snowminton for this, you're on some island. So you think, hey, how could a snowman survive? Well, Michael Clooney proved you wrong by writing that. But he says, party pooper duper. Did someone steal your fun dust?
This is what I mean. There was not one likable character. I mean, like, I wish he died early. Like, he was a big part of this movie, and he went on way too long. His shtick was way too long.
And there was a point that I thought they were going to pull the shtick away, and then that never happened.
Correct.
That made no sense.
They made it look like he was like undercover, playing that role, but he was the same role the whole time.
Yeah. And I love that they're like, if you notice in this movie, there's like no real songs. There's no real songs. All the songs in it are like free public domain. So when he says his secret weapon is karaoke, and the fact that the song they sing for being on an island, I get it. It's the holidays, whatever. You don't sing Jingle Bells.
And you don't do it like in a group. I mean, it's karaoke, right? I mean, that's yes.
Jesus Christ, man. And I love, and then the next scene was the one we were talking about. Again, not Jennifer Lyons. It's the model blonde is looking at Sam and his buddy, piss drunk. And that's when Sam goes, I can say it. Snowman. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, Snowman. Mutant Killer Snowman.
So stupid.
I know, but I was really laughing at that part. That guy owned it. That's one thing I have to say. The Christopher Allport, yeah, he owned it. He was like, it was total cheese, and he was great at doing it. I believe that he was in that role. It was like Hasselhoff in Anaconda 3. He went for it.
He was he reminded me of Hasselhoff a little bit. He was actually right at the beginning. I was like, this guy's like a little Hasselhoffy, I think they all owned it. I mean, they all know this movie was supposed to be cheese. Cheese is the best word to say it, and I think they all try to have fun with it. I mean, I don't think the Colonel really talks like that, or the, Colonel must, I bet you the bartender doesn't have a Jamaican accent like that. I mean, everything seems forced. But I think forced in a cheesy way. I think it's like, listen, if we're going to make a cheesy movie, we might as well go all the way.
And they did. They definitely did. So then again, we get Jennifer Lyons. Why would they get rid of them so quick? It's her and the two friends are waiting for these two dorks. And I love Jack is a carrot again, just moving around the beach and just like kind of why? How is he? Where are his eyes? How is he seeing them?
Has he seen anything? How is he like again? How is he moving? How is he like able to use icicles and stuff as a carrot? I mean, and obviously based on the kills, not just icicles but anvils too.
Oh, dude. How?
I mean, how is that happening? Like he's not. He has nothing to do with snow. He's a carrot. Like it just so, and you know, again, back to those girls. They're pretty good looking girls, and they're like fighting over these two guys. Now, granted, this is a tropical island that I think is only a total of like 7 people on the island. So I mean, maybe it's just they're picking a litter. I guess I don't know.
There was a point that I said the same thing, and then later you saw all these randoms.
Correct.
There were so many randoms that came out of nowhere. But again, the fact that they were fighting over them, wouldn't they be like, "Hey, this is our first vacation away from our parents. Let's just share," or something like that. But the fact that the one line was that if he was hitting on me any harder, he would have been arrested.
Well, so they clearly look like they're in their 20s. Okay, but based on the fact that it is the first vacation away from their parents, and that line, are they trying to make them younger than they are?
Oh, totally. Because I don't think they were 19 years old.
No, but they were definitely in their 20s, though.
Oh, no, they were definitely. But yeah, no, I don't know why they did that. Why did they say that?
So, like, making it sound like they're like 17 or something like that, because based on that line, it's like, like he'd be arrested. Like, yeah, it just didn't make sense.
Oh, yeah, that is true. I didn't even think about it that way. I was thinking that it was like he was getting like too touchy-feely, but no, that makes sense. I love that they're fighting over the two guys, and she's like, "You girls can do whatever you want. He's mine. You guys can fight over Ben." And they're like, "Is Ben the cute one?" And then they're like, "Dibs on Ben."
I didn't expect the scene to happen so fast. Like, I really you just got introduced to these girls, and then the chaos just happens right away.
And when you're on a tropical island, I'm sure they have some bonfires set up for you and everything. The fact that she goes, "You know what? I'm going to go pick up some charcoal." It's like, what? And then you hear Jack like peeping in the trees, and he's like, "Yeah, I do feel a little underdressed." And
I did a small smile, but when he was dropping the icicles, every time she bent over and he just missed her, and you hear him like, "Oh, yeah," like that, that was kind of funny, like again, but I was just at this point I was so angry that I had to watch this movie that some of the funny parts I normally would have found funny, I was just kind of ignoring, because there are some funny parts. I mean, but there's just so many bad parts that it was hard to like laugh.
No, I wish there was more. No, I understand. But then the one friend's like, "Oh my God, where is she?" And she's like, "You know what? She probably gets got lost. I'm going to go help her." And then she goes, and that girl was probably, when she was going to the script, she was probably like, "Oh, I don't get anything." She walks over, immediately steps on ice cubes that are coming out of the hot sand, not melting somehow. She steps on one, falls back, bunch of ice cubes. She's dead. And I think Jennifer Lyons, who provided a really cool story, I should maybe cut it and put it out, but she talked about her scene when she gets tongued in the eyes. When they filmed the eye part, they didn't film it all at the same time. They did it in the morning, and they were supposed to shoot like early, but they had to wait till later for some reason. So she was like, "I was blind like the whole day."
So what was she planning on doing with the tongs?
I don't know. Grab his carrot, I guess. I guess you could pick up a carrot from a safe distance.
I guess, but but you don't see the carrot at this point, right? So as he's doing like the icicles and the anvil and the ice cubes, and like you don't see the carrot anymore.
No, you don't. But I do wish there was a scene of somebody dying, talking, like having a full out, like a drunk kid should have stumbled on the beach and had a full out conversation with a carrot, just like broing out and like be like, "Dude, you're the only person that listens to me." He's like, "Hey man," and then he's like, "I'm sorry, but I gotta kill you," or something like that. But there would have been funny to have like that, like this kid or a girl talking to like somebody in the shadows. And
you mean like Weekend at Bernie's too, when she's talking to the dead guy, and
sort of,
I mean it's the same kind of thing. So in the first movie, how does he become a snowman? Is this like a serial killer that's possessed, like a Chucky?
Okay. He's not possessed. He somehow gets put into, I forgot, some experiment, I think too.
So but he can only be snowman. That's so. That's like,
snowman.
And at this point, so he's like a ghost though, right? I mean, he's able to travel around and do things without having a body formed.
Yeah, no,
yes.
he can go around and do whatever he wants, because we see it. He can make an anvil. He can do anything he wants, but he chooses to do this. He could probably have a pretty enjoyable existence. He can go up to the North Pole and
the other thing is like, so the few times, he sees girls, and he seems excited. Why does he kill him so fast? Like he seems like a pervert. So I think he would like, I don't know. I feel like, like first of all, why is he killing everybody? Like, what's his like angle?
Yeah. Like, does he know that Sam is here? He doesn't say that,
does.
Right?
Well, he does, because I guess they found that, member that they're connected.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Right. So they have a connection.
So that's why you went there. And that was a,
oh, well,
but we do see Jack finally a little bit at this point, right? You just see his arm.
You see a mitten. You see a white mitten. I mean, look at the glove behind you. You can't look at it now, but you see, I'm looking at the picture of him. They're mittens. I love clearly a mitten on the guy's hand.
He does have like 3 amazing lines at the end when he gets like angry, like super angry and pissed off. But yeah, so crazy. So then we get, after this part, this is what you talked about. The older couple are in the bed. The fun police somehow is creepily in between the two, which is insane. But the other couple, who I thought they were married already, and I thought they were just renewing their vows, they're sleeping in 2 twin beds.
And he told her we sleep in the same bed at home. So why, like, what's the difference? And she might be, and now there's a lot of annoying characters in this movie. She might be worse than Mr. Fun. Like, she really 100%. Is an annoying. She's the worst character in this movie by far.
In probably but like any movie I've ever seen.
Oh, that's a big statement. But she is. She's up there.
She was like bashing. She was bashing annoying Sam for no reason.
Correct. But I mean, she's the love of that guy's life. And he wanted some, and she wouldn't give him any.
Yeah. That guy was such a wimp too. So then the bodies are discovered by another couple that we're going to see like for the first time. And the colonel tells the couple who found it, don't tell anyone, and we'll comp your room service. And the fact that they were like so excited, I'm like, what did they order last night? Their bill must be so high.
How can they be excited? There was just a gruesome. I mean, when you see like what it looks like, there's a mess of, I don't know what it was. Like, it looked like just chum thrown in like on the sand. Oh. They made it the way they made. So you're looking at this. You're going to be comped to stay longer. Would you stay? Like, knowing
no, and there's like 5 people there. So no, why would I not do that? And then I love the head of the island security. The first time we see him, this guy is an absolute like, oh my God, I love everything. What
do they call him? Crazy man or they called him something.
I just wrote he was a real creeper, but I love that him and
dude.
Sam.
Scary. They call him Scary Dude.
Yes. But he has an eye patch because I think he did get damaged in the first one, like his eye. But the fact that him and Sam look like they went to the same like ugly polo shirt store.
Well, he also said
them being at the same island.
Well, again, I think, you know what? I don't know. but he did say something like, "Look what he did to my face." There's absolutely nothing wrong with his face, but an eye patch. Like, he looks. If you saw it from the side view, you were like, he looks normal. All he is wearing an eye patch, but he says, "Look what he did to my face."
Yeah, it would have been good if he had like a scar, like a big scar or something. But yeah, he did nothing. And just the chance that this guy happened to be at that island.
Well, you know what it is? They spent so much money on the special effects for Jack that they couldn't afford a scar.
Maybe they forgot to put it on that day, and he said it like it was there. He owned it. He was like, I have a scar on my face, or he thought they were going to put it in post. They forgot to add a scar on his face or something. But oh my gosh. And the fact that the colonel believes that it was a shark attack and a cooking accident, and then isn't
well,
like
he said land shark.
Land shark. The fact that they're not nervous when he tells the Jamaican guy to call and the phone lines are down, just completely normal. What are the chances? Dead bodies, phone lines down. I think you should know by now that somebody's killing people.
Well, the whole movie, he's pretty much putting himself and his business ahead of anything else, because he's poo-pooing the idea the entire time.
Does he own this place, or he's got to have a huge stake in it? Because it almost seemed like it happened before. Because he was so, again, I know he was in the army and everything, but he was so calm and cool about the whole thing. Like, oh, dead bodies, whatever.
Well, considering this is a tropical island, I'm assuming all inclusive, is also only 4 employees. And I don't even consider the colonel an employee, because I don't think he does anything. So you're talking about Captain Fun is one. You have the bartender, which I think he also is. I think he does other things too. I mean, but he's the bartender, and then you have scary guy, the security. So you have a bartender, you have a Captain Fun, and a security guy. That's it.
Oh my God. And then, so in that scene where he says the phone lines are down, this is another thing. So we've seen him as water. We've seen him as a carrot. He's sort of coming back now. So now we're saying that he is a snow globe, because the snow globe gets a zoom in and it's him talking.
How do you get in a snow globe? Like literally, when they're making this movie, they just put him wherever they want to put him. There's no rhyme or reason. He's in a snow globe now. I mean, and then how does he get inside the electrical box?
Well, the electrical box, I think he threw a snowball. It was supposed to be like the snow dripping off of it, and then there's snow like a little bit. No, I know, but
so he threw a snowball that would smash against the box. Somehow it was a pool of water when they opened it up inside.
So to go back to your thing you're talking about with the employees, and then in that next scene, it's the like 7 guests like asking for drinks. And they're like, hey, come on, I need some drinks. And then when we cut back to that, like a couple scenes later, they're like, oh, these people are out of their minds. And they're like chugging out of the bottles and getting hammered.
And the bartender he goes, I'm gone 5 minutes. You guys couldn't wait. Like he was pissed.
So I think would this be your favorite scene of the movie? The blonde and the photo shoot?
No, my favorite scene was the end credits.
So we get to the blonde supermodel, and she's doing a photo shoot with a snowboard. So makes as much sense as Jack Frost in a tropical setting. But I love when you hear Jack, his POV, here's someone who needs a good Christmas stuffing.
And then you have the photographer who's
terrible. The stereotype is like
unbelievable. It really is. So they have that. Now, the fact that she wasn't cold enough, but she clearly was cold enough.
Oh, I know. She was. No, that's what made no sense when he said that. And she almost felt like offended. And then she looked down. Yeah. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. It must be the warm weather. I'm like, no, you're plenty cold.
I was going to say, so how much colder could she get? I mean, that was just an excuse to bring an ice cube there. Fine. I get it. But then they should have put maybe she's always cold, but then put Band-Aids there. Don't show it until after they put the ice cubes there. Like she clearly was cold enough.
Wait, so do you use Band-Aids whenever you're doing a photo shoot and your nipples are hard?
Of course, it's chafing. You got to protect.
Yeah, that would have been good. Why couldn't they be like, hey guys, nipples a little hard. We're gonna take a 30-minute break, okay? Let's get some heaters on there. Let's bring it down a little bit. But then when we get Jack getting so excited, his voice, I forgot what he said.
Oh, you know what? Though, but there were more than one voices in that box. So so it wasn't just Jack. Like, because he said, hey, all right, guys, or somebody, he said something like that. So like, I was so confused at this part. Like, or were they the babies at the time? Like, were they?
Yes, I think that's what it was. Now looking back and thinking about it, but I love it. It's like me, pick me, come on. God, I love that so much. It was so amazing.
And then I'm glad they did hit it, because when she was sucking on first she had to get recold, I guess, again. But when she's sucking on the ice cube and he's like all excited, he's like, oh yeah.
He sounds like he's gonna come.
Right, 100%. But then she starts chewing it, and I'm like, wouldn't that kill him? And then he starts saying, ow. So like, I'm glad they addressed that, because I had a feeling like they weren't going to. And I was like, that didn't make sense. But yeah. So he can feel that?
No, I don't know how he can feel, but makes even more no sense. So first it was the nipple, and she's done with it. She throws it on the ground. He's like, you bitch. And then she goes, can I get some iced coffee? And this guy uses just the ice that's in there again.
Yep.
Did they have ice before they got there? Because it seemed like they didn't. And she's drinking it, and then again she's sensually doing it and he's getting excited, and then chews again. And I thought in my head, I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna like kill her, right? Which he does, like a couple.
I thought she was
seconds.
Gonna explode.
Oh yeah, no, I know, but God, it really got uncomfortable when he was like, oh yeah.
And all you're doing is looking at an ice cube when he's saying that. So okay, so far he's been a carrot, a snow globe, and an ice cube,
and water going down the drain.
Yeah, but he wasn't speaking then, right? He wasn't. I'm talking about like voice.
No, he spoke when he went down the drain in the.
Oh, you're right.
Lab.
Okay, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So he was a puddle, ice cube, a carrot, and a snow globe. Now,
we'll have to
not for nothing though.
Every time we get something else.
Yeah, but 3 of those things involve water. The carrot does not.
If this is a multiple choice test, one of the things is not like the other, and it's the carrot. So another awesome line. I guess the coffee was decapitated. And then the way he's killing the guy again. I know it's bad. I hated the overly like the way the guy was playing the gay character, but I did like the way seeing the photos. Like I don't think a photographer of that caliber that's doing a model shoot would use a Kodak camera like that. And then
not at all. That camera he was using was like a professional photo shoot camera, and then Polaroids come out. so dumb. Like that made no sense. Don't forget, you mentioned that she also got the scarf. This is where he gets his scarf from.
Yes, that's true.
Right. So he needed his kill for the scarf. So he can't become a snowman without the scarf.
Or I
can understand.
He got the charcoal earlier, so maybe we forgot he's like picking up the pieces all along the movie.
Right. But okay, I can understand the charcoal because those are his eyes. The character's nose, but like he needs the scarf. Like, is it because like he'd be naked? Like, would it be a naked snowman without the scarf?
Well, if he's wearing a scarf, that means he is naked because.
Well, I mean, it's like, isn't it like Donald Duck? See. So he's naked. You have a naked snowman.
I'm covering him up right now.
Well, I remember hearing this somewhere, like with someone said, like Donald Duck, he doesn't wear pants ever. He wears a shirt, but when he gets out of the shower, he puts a towel on. So isn't this the same kind of thing? Like, is he naked? But once he puts the scarf on, he's not really naked anymore.
That's a really funny thing about Donald Duck. And I was almost going to do my Donald Duck impersonation, but it was not. Not ready.
Yikes! You better off not doing it.
So I love. So then we cut to the old couples, and they're doing archery into bushes,
into the woods. Like now, this is an island where clearly people walking around everywhere. The girls were in the woods and everything else.
The 7 people that are left, or 4 people that are left?
Well, they don't know that. So how are they just shooting into the woods like that? Like, there's not like, I don't know.
I do love that the manners. Again, there's sometimes in these movies, cheese or not, bad or not, there are lines that are really funny. But I love when Manners wanted to talk to Sam. He's like, meet me at the, I think he says like, meet me behind the office. And he's like, why can't you just tell me right now? He's like, so I got to pee.
So stupid.
But did you notice a line that's very famous in a movie that we cut work to go see? Sam pulls the John McClane Die Hard 5 line. He says, I'm on vacation.
On vacation.
But what changes so much in him so fast? He's so scared about Jack. There's a dead body and he's a cop. He has the instinct.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that yet. He doesn't know there's a dead body yet.
It's Jack, but he knows somebody's dead. He saw the dead bodies behind them, but he believed it was a shark attack and a cooking accident.
Sam saw that?
Yeah, they were blocking it, and he said, who's that over there? And they're like, shark accident.
Oh, see, I didn't think he saw that. That's because I was questioning later on when they talked about the killers, and I was like, how does Sam know? Because I must have been writing down at that point because I didn't think Sam saw. All right.
Yeah,
Jeez.
dude. And then Sam had no care anymore. I'm like, why wouldn't he have a care? And like, what's going on right now? And then the costume party at first, it's really funny. So when we first saw them go to the costume, I didn't think it was a costume party. Like, even in my notes, I had to go back and fix it because when they talk about like the hippie, like he's dressed as a hippie, and then the sunburnt snowboarder and Manners. I
thought he was a minion. He looked like a minion at first. I really thought he was. I swear, I thought he was a minion. Obviously, it didn't come out that long. I mean, it came out so long ago, but he looked like a minion at first. I didn't realize what he was at first.
Now, do we know already? I think I didn't write it down. Wasn't this the scene where he goes Captain Fun? He's actually right. I think it was right before this. Because he's like, he's more than Captain.
Because this was his plan. So when he met with him, he talked about it, and then what his Captain Fun's plan was to have a party, Halloween party.
And that again,
not sure.
At that point. What I was going to say. At that point was when I thought when he was like, "Oh, he's not who you think he is." I'm thinking this guy's going to be like, "Hi, I'm actually Special Agent 47." Blah, blah,
right.
Blah,
correct.
Blah,
correct.
And be serious,
correct.
But no, he was stupider than ever.
Yeah. You're 100% right. I think once he put that ski outfit on, he was the rest of the time more annoying than he was in the first part. Like, he was just a complete idiot. I did like Scary Man, or what do they call him? Scary Dude? Yeah. What's his name? His costume.
Well, he was like a mix of like an old like detective or a flasher.
No, he was Columbo.
Yeah.
I think he was Columbo because he had the one eye. I want to say he was Columbo.
That's amazing. And then here is our first like part of the story that gets revealed later. Sam hears Jack's voice like in his head, and he's like walking around, and then he sees, and we even see as viewers of the movie, a thing just run past him like at like fast speed, and then he finds just a carrot on the ground.
Well, does he hear him in his head, or like are we supposed to think he hears in his head, or does Jack really talking? Because even like when Jack is talking, can anyone hear him, or are we just listening to his thoughts?
Ooh, well, later people definitely can hear him, the lines, because he's saying it.
Oh, because he's talking to them. Right. Well, that's what I mean. Like, he's talking to them later on, but like all this time, like if you happen, like, can you hear what he's saying all this time, or are we just supposed to hear his thoughts? That's what. Well,
I would hope they would have been like, "Holy shit, this ice cube that I'm rubbing on my nipples is talking right now." No, I know that. No,
that is true.
Think so. But maybe he is talking like out loud, but somehow Sam is within like certain.
Right.
I don't know. But when he whacks the snowman with the oar, and then you see it land on the ground, you're like, all right, well, obviously that's not him. And it's the Colonel. Doesn't the Colonel know everything about everyone? Would he have known, like, hey, this guy has a fear of snowmen. Pick another costume. And why would they have the costume there?
Well, I don't think he said anything about Sam when he got off the bus. Like that was the only couple he really didn't say anything about. So I don't know if he knows. But do you think that guy in a snowsuit was the stunt double for Jack?
Oh,
because
really?
his costume is, it's just a step below Jack's. Like it was, I mean, Jack's costume was a fantastic. I mean, the special effects for Jack. So I wonder if he was a stunt double for.
I would, yeah, or the backup just in case. But no, he whacks him pretty good. He hits him.
Yeah.
He hits the Colonel pretty good. And then we go back to so Sam is like kind of like, oh my God, like I thought it was happening and I'm so sorry. But again, his wife was such a bitch. Again, it's a year. It's only a year removed from like seeing people your friends and neighbors with and people you went to church with. Because the final scene of the movie, they're like holed up in a church, like going against Jack. And like the fact that she does not care and she says, get over it.
But how is she not affected? I mean, I'm assuming she was part of this, like, so she's seen him. So like, wouldn't it have scarred you also?
I would hope so, unless you're just a cold individual. But no, that made no sense. And then right from there, we cut to the cheesy sign that says like, it's a empty tropical bar. And then also again, and then the pool. And at this point, wouldn't Stephanie Chow's character, Cindy, she was with the blonde on a photo shoot. She just didn't go for that part of the shoot. Wouldn't she have like gone back to her room and be like, hey, this really small island, this really small place, I haven't seen my friends, the photographer, in like forever. Let me go in the pool by myself at what, 2-3 in the morning?
And skinny dip. Like, do people skinny dip by themselves? Like at that, like really, like, what's the point of skinny dipping by yourself? I mean, if it's late at night, she barely has a bikini as it is. So it's a small bikini. What do you got to go skinny dipping for? You're by yourself.
I've done that before. I've been on skinny dipping by myself. Feels good, man. Just let it flow. Let the molecules, let the water, just do what it's got to do.
Remind me not to go on vacation with you.
But this scene, and again, when I interviewed Stephanie, I didn't realize I've seen this movie. I didn't remember that she was naked in it. So it felt a little weird that I was like, man, your scene was so awesome. But it is an awesome scene because it's the first time you see Jack's face. And to be completely honest with you, if you allow me to do that, this is my nightmare, dying this way, drowning, but being stuck under something and drowning.
All right. So first of all, if snow touches water, it melts. Like, I'm assuming that it is a tropical island, so that pool is going to be pretty warm.
Oh yeah.
So if you put a snowman's hand in it, it's going to slowly melt. Like, and it gets smaller. I mean, it can turn to ice, but it's going to like, I don't follow that.
Well, remember, he's a mutant killer snowman, so maybe somehow.
So heat doesn't bother him?
I guess not. He has one flaw, and we find out another one later. Antifreeze. It's the only thing.
Well, not really.
Well, no, that's what I mean. The other one, I don't want to reveal it yet.
Did they try to melt him last time and it didn't work? Just antifreeze, like fires, nothing.
Oh, I don't know if they did fire. I'm sure that'd been.
Why would they use a fire to melt a snowman?
That would be my first. But no, so this scene is like my nightmare. Like, I don't know if you remember Carrie 2, but in that movie, there's a similar scene with Brad, the older brother from Home Improvement, when the thing goes over. And like, to me, that's like the scariest. And it was really cool when she told me about this scene that she's like, bigger budget movies that she was on, like Little Nicky, like those movies, there were so many people around for, whatever. In this, even though it was low budget, she said there were divers underneath, but they weren't like a lot of divers, and she was under plexiglass in one section and then not. That's scary as hell, man.
Wait, so they had divers, she's swimming naked, and they had divers swimming underneath her?
Well, I don't know if they were underneath her, but to the side of her.
I mean, because that'd be kind of awkward also if I was her. I mean, you have these guys with cameras looking up, waiting or whatever, and she's swimming naked.
And for the guy, if it's a guy diver, his wife would be like, what are you doing at work today? And he's gonna be like, oh, just a scene with the snowman, honey. Don't worry about it. And then when his buddy comes over beers, he's like, man, remember that girl that was naked today? He's like, shh. Then the wife leaves him, the kids, everything. It's just a big mess.
His whole story.
Happy holidays.
I'm surprised for a movie like this. This is the only boob scene. You had 4 women in the beginning of the movie that looked like clear. They, if they, didn't do it for this movie, they've showed their boobs in other movies. Like they look like they would have shown it, like. So I'm surprised, like that was the only scene.
I almost spit my beer because when you said the 4 women, I thought you meant like the annoying lady. You know, if they did that, they're like, "Fine, you want boobs?"
If that was the case, I would hate the movie even more. So I probably would have stopped it right there.
No, but that whole scene, and then we see Jack for the first time. I thought that was so cool, his reveal that you just see him through the ice that he puts on it. And again, a great line from there. He goes from there to the bar, and somehow he touches stuff. And I love he goes, "I feel like a cold one or 11." And it's so Asahi beer okayed being in this movie.
Well, I guess advertisement is advertisement.
Yes.
I mean,
they thought this was gonna be so big they were gonna have like Jack Frost commercials or like cardboard cutouts in the liquor store. Preference beer of Jack Frost. If the budget
was bigger, this could have been maybe a better movie. Again, the way Jack looked, it literally looked like a Halloween costume that you could buy at the Party City. That's what it looked like.
You can see, we're doing this. If you're listening to this, thank you. If you want to watch on video,
this is not what he looked like. If he looked like that, maybe a little better.
But yeah, you can see his mittens. So you can see the cloth like rolled up.
I was going to say, you could clearly see there those are mittens right there.
Oh my God. And the fact that, so he turns the bar into like a frozen tundra and it wakes up Sam. And then how crazy was it when you saw Jack's hand tuck Sam in? And then the wife's like, he goes to the wife, "Honey, can you turn the AC down?" And she goes, "Don't you remember that was the thing about this place? It doesn't have air conditioning." But the fact that Jack actually tucked him in, I should have used that photo. That was the best.
So as a snowman, do you think he leaves like a stream of water everywhere he goes?
I would hope so. What do you think? Wet Jason, and Jason Takes Manhattan left like wet, soggy footprints. I would hope so. That'd be so. Well,
does he have feet, or he just slides everywhere?
I think he just he just slides. Well, the actor that's inside of it has feet and probably penguins everywhere. But no. And then right from this, again, where are they? And this is a funny part of the movie too. Well, it's funny and stupid, but I do love that they attempted to like a lot of things in this movie. At least they tried to do some exposition. So you're like, oh, this could make sense. But when it starts snowing and everybody is having snowball fights and going nuts, and they're like, isn't this kind of weird, Colonel? No, it snowed once in 1800 something.
See, I don't think they were trying. I think, again, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Oh. And I feel like they're like, the audience is not going to, most people are not going to have a podcast to talk about it and rip it apart. So I feel like they're going to be like, yeah, the audience is not going to care. They just want to see Jack again. So, like it just, when you dissect this scene, it's just ridiculous. It's just a snowball fight on a tropical island. I can understand if they did a monsoon, they did a, tsunami, a snowball fight. Like, ugh.
Well, yes, they had to do that because that's snow with Jack. But again, his buddy went through this whole thing with him last year. And the fact is, then after the Colonel shuts him down, he goes, yeah, but the temperature changed. It was like 90 something yesterday. Now it's like 32. And he goes, well, in Montana in 1924, it's like, what are you, a fucking walking farmer's almanac?
Well, doesn't she say it's her husband, his wife said something like, how do you know this stuff? Or something like, and he said National Geographic. Like,
he has a lot of reading to do in his twin bed. He's not getting any other thing.
Well, would you want any? Well, hold on. Would you want any from her?
I'd be like, hey, Jack, take my wife, please. So how about the two stoners? They kind of recreate the Christmas Story. And what logic is it? Like, I've done some really stupid shit when I was drunk when I was young. Last week. And so the fact that he goes, warm beer, man, again, there's snow, throw it in the snow for like an hour, you'll be fine. But he's like, warm beer, frozen pole. He's like, And I'm like, wait, what does that matter? He sticks his tongue on the pole. You pour the beer. It doesn't go in your mouth.
What is the point of doing that? Like, like I've never met anyone that tried it. I don't know anyone that was stupid enough to try it. And you see it all the time in movies, Dumb and Dumber, Christmas Story. But what are you trying to gain by doing that? Just to see if your tongue sticks? Like, I don't understand. Like, what's the end goal? And
dude,
it never works out in a great way. Like once you do it, never able to take your tongue off and say, all right, that was pretty cool. Like, it's always some kind of ordeal.
Yeah, there's no turning back. Even when you get an ice cube that has that little sheen on it and you put your tongue on it and it gets stuck for a second, you like panic for 1 second, like, I'm gonna lose my tongue right now. There's like that one moment that you're like, oh my God,
correct.
This is it.
Correct.
But no, that whole scene again made, like a lot of the movie, made no sense. And then when his buddy gets his tongue stuck, he says bummer and he leaves.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what a douche. He said he's the one that dared him because his buddy did not want to. He goes, I'm not. You think I'm stupider than I am? Or that's what his buddy said, or something like that. You think I'm dumber than I am? And then when he said, oh, I got the warm beer, then he's like, all right, I'll try it. And then he leaves him there. So he didn't even want to do it in the first place.
But I do like Jack, and I know you watched a version that had some of the kill scenes cut. So in this one, he says to him, yo, dude, what's up? Like, Jack. And then he goes, Cowatunga, dude. And he pulls his head off. And the tongue gets ripped out. And it is just the lines. That is great. Cowatunga, dude. And this is the first time I did a check time. 50 minutes.
Wait, you waited this long to do a check time? I'm not kidding you. I checked at least 4 times before this.
And then again, we get another scene where Jack is like directly talking to Sam, and then Jack shows up out of nowhere, and it's like Nolan freaking Ryan just whipping snowballs, and just so when the arms are getting chopped off, I'm like, that's cool. But when the one goes into the guy's mouth, and all it is his mouth is open a little bit more, I'm like, they couldn't even do effects to make it like his whole face is like packed in.
What a snowball really, that powerful? Like, if you put a snowball in a pitching machine, I can't imagine hurting as like, professional baseball players get hit with 100-mile-an-hour baseball and they get a bruise. You throw a snowball 100 miles an hour, it's just going to burst on you. I'm not saying it's not going to hurt. I don't know if it's taking your arm off.
Maybe they're ice balls. They're special mutant snowballs that can, I don't know. I'm trying to do like they do. But I do love that Sam, seeing all this carnage, it goes, it's another holly jolly Christmas. And then at this point, I'm like, so if you're breaking down this character, like if I'm writing like an English paper and I'm like breaking down Sam's character, at this point, you're like, this is him going up. He's about to just be hero mode the whole time out. But it friggin' changes like in a dime, like this whole thing. And then at that point, too, Sam's buddy's wife mocking him again. It was insane.
Why are they still staying there? I mean, like, they literally, like, at that point, go to the airport, go leave. Like, why are they still hanging around and staying in their rooms?
Well,
like, wouldn't you?
There's no communication. Like, there's no phones or satellite. There's no ship coming in. Even though I'm guessing they flew in, maybe the airport's going to be like, holy shit, it's snowing there. We're not even going to take a chance to go there. So maybe
first of all, we didn't even touch this, but when they were going at the airport in the beginning of the movie, that was someone's house. That wasn't okay. Again, I told you this whole movie's filmed at someone's house. That was someone's. I thought they were on their way to the airport, like they were going to get in the car. No, he goes to the front door. He's at the airport.
Yes. And I love that he did say like, oh, they're late, oh my God. And then when they showed up, sorry, man, just get ready for everything. And then they just walk in this door. Yeah, that's the airport, the front of somebody's house. But how about the fact that Sam carries around concentrated antifreeze around his neck, but the snowman that he thought, again, it was this, dude. Come on. How are you going to mistake that for, that? Jack is...
Yeah, but he's not stable. I mean, yes, but that's also why he should not be a cop anymore. I mean, like really, like this should be like his retirement. It shouldn't be going away for like a wedding. Like it should have been like he's going away with his wife to get away from it all, retire. That's what the story should have been, because he's still obviously crazy. He's crazy.
That would have been really good. Like falling down, like it's his last day, and they've like throw him a surprise party.
Right.
That would have been good. That could have been something.
See? And then that means we wouldn't have to deal with the annoying wife and his friends.
That is true. But they would have got invited, I'm sure. But I do like the first reveal of Jack and Sam finally seeing each other, because we're again almost an hour into the movie. The first time they laid eyes on each other, they're the Goliaths in cinema. You think of like Arnold and Predator, and you think of Jack and Sam.
Yeah, definitely in that same category. Well, that's after he wasted the only weapon he had against Jack. That's when Jack showed up, right? So I mean, like that if the movie wasn't hated as much up to that point, that's a pretty good scene. Like, Jack waited for him to waste it. He must have known somehow. And then he shows up.
So one thing I did, again, Manners pops out of nowhere. He pulls a gun out. So at least he has a gun. I know he's the head of the island security. And then Jack just like disappears into the snow, which again, that's cool that that's his getaway. I do like that. But I wish they did almost like Star Wars, like Jack pulling people into the snow, which he does pull things into the snow later. But it'd been cool if he actually just like, again, that would have been a cheap effect to do. Just like ripping somebody down into some like trapdoor that they dug in the ground in someone's backyard.
Well, Jack technically should be like the Sandman, like Sandman and Spider-Man, where he's he's able to move around like that, pull people in, make a sand fist. Like that's how Jack should be, but no, yeah.
And now, so Sam, when they get back in the hotel room, and how did he get all that stuff on the airport? The caulking, the sealant. Like, how did he tell his wife, like, oh, this is my extra bag. This has like extra swim trunks in it. It's a bag that probably weighs 100 pounds. And he's like, seal all the windows so he can't get in, which is smart, but that's a little crazy.
Well, maybe he just taking precaution. He knows, he's panicking all this time. I was just thinking about this also. Why does Jack have to go to that island to become a snowman? Like, can he get a carrot from anywhere else? Because, like, can he get like a scarf from anywhere or charcoal? Like, so, like, what? Like, there really is no point for him to come to this island. Like, I'm trying to find out what the plot of the movie is. Like, what's his end goal? And I'm thinking about like, why is he there?
No, I know.
I mean,
just
I don't know.
The fact that he had to grab all those things along the way to like form him, I don't know. It's like he's not a transformer, but something he had to.
Yeah. But I think you're right. I think Sam planned that because he's just panicky all the time. So just like he carries the antifreeze around his neck, he's carrying all the things that kind of keep Jack out.
And it obviously it's smart because he put in that situation. And then super soakers with the antifreeze kind of remind me of like Ernest Scared Stupid, like going around and like they're shooting
Lost Boys.
Yes. So like super, super corny. It's like,
well, there was a funny. I thought it was a little funny line.
There we go.
When a scary guy and Jack were like, "Listen, we're gonna go out, with the guns." And so Joe goes, "I'll go," and then Jack goes, "No, Joe, you stay here." And he goes, "That's what I was gonna say."
Yeah, that was good. And then I do love when he's like, "Hey, by any chance, if you see anything to eat, if there's any food out, can you bring it back?" That was pretty good. I really did like that part.
And at this point, no one's wearing a costume but Captain Fun. Captain Fun is still wearing his skiers outfit the entire rest of the movie.
Yeah, everybody else changed
everybody changed. Yeah, why is he wearing it?
Maybe he's naked underneath. Everybody else just put a costume on over it.
Maybe that's what he normally looks like.
Oh, I didn't understand that costume at all. What was he, sunburned?
Well, he was sunburned. He was getting windburn from because his scarf was like this. So like, it was stuck. So it was like he was going down, I guess, getting windburn. Listen, I thought he was a minion. So don't. Yeah, I know.
Oh my god! And then it's So then we find out Sam's buddy kind of like gives the whole story how Jack and Sam are linked because Sam bled into the antifreeze, which we're just remembering now. And maybe that's something that I should have remembered from the first one. But this changes everything because that's where we find out from Bobby. He says they have drums of coolant because he keeps saying antifreeze. And he's like, oh, you mean coolant? And he's like, yeah, the generator drinks it up like a rum drink. And then that's a like, boom.
Hold on. Wait, before you go any further, that was your attempt to a Jamaican accent?
I thought it was pretty flawless.
Oof. Was that the first time you tried?
Right now, I tried a little bit.
All right. Okay. Don't add that to your list. You might want to work on that one.
Okay. I'll workshop it. So then their next thing are like, here's how we can beat Jack. They take like what is like I don't think it's a kiddie pool. It looks like a fountain that they must have drained everything out of because they filled it up with the coolant, and then they put a sheet down and they cover it in potato flakes.
Well, didn't they have plenty of snow there though? Like, why didn't they use real snow?
They could have kicked it over, used like a
sure they don't have. Why would they have shovels? They never snows in a tropical island. Why would they have a shovel?
Have regular shovels, those work for snow. It's not like you can't pick up snow with a metal shovel. It's not like you start doing it. It's like, oh, it doesn't work.
I guess I still don't understand why they use potato when they had snow all around them.
It's funny that they use that because that's what they use in movies for scenes. Like,
that's probably what all that snow. That's probably all the snow they had was probably potatoes.
Charlie Clooney raided his mom's instant potatoes.
Charlie Clooney. What?
But so then Sam volunteers to be the bait. Jack pops up out of nowhere again. They're connected. Okay, we find out he bled in it. They're like one and the same, you know. So why the hell does he easily fall into the trap and fall into the thing? Easy.
And when he goes in the ground, where does he go? Throughout the whole. Okay, but where is his mind? Like the whole movie, we see him, you know, in a carrot moving around in the air and in ice cubes. So when he goes in the snow, where is he? Like where is he? I thought like when he goes in the snow, he's still there. He's just in the snow. Like he can still hear. You can still see what's going on. Like, is he?
Oh no,
I
think that too. Yeah, no, I think that too. I think he's just in the snow, like in a certain area. But yeah.
So wouldn't he see them making it?
Oh yeah, that's true. Wouldn't he be smart enough to just be there the whole time and just not talk?
That's what I mean. Like,
it's not like he has to use a hat to work.
Correct.
You know.
So is it like he goes in? It like goes. It's like a teleport. Like he goes in one thing in the snow, he pops up on the other side of the island.
Like Super Mario, he like goes through the pipe. Maybe. But yeah, he should have known. But the fact that he fell in that easy, and then he just looked like melting marshmallows all over his face. And I did love when he was melted. Like, you got him. Yeah, he's done. Everybody's like celebrating. And then he just like looks at them and he wipes his face and it's normal again. And then he vomits. And then it's just like Gremlins 2-ish because he vomits.
This turns into Gremlins. This is
Critters. I would say this is more Critters because they don't really move and the people have to move them.
Yeah, but they try to give them personality like Gremlins 2. So it was like a combination of, and look at your pictures. You have a spike. I was going to say that.
That was, I love that. I thought he was going to be something. Yeah. He was nothing. I expected the Colonel to fall on him or somebody to fall him, waste it.
No, they miss like a Gremlins 2 scene combination of Critters. 100%.
Yeah. They could have totally owned that. And then Sam's buddy picks up the one with the pool skimmer. And I love that they're like worshiping the snowball. They're like looking at it like, what could this be? And then it starts hatching.
Well, they're trying to kill it first. Like they're trying to melt it, which why they even bother picking it up? They've got this monster just had a hairball of a snowball, just puked it up. Why are you picking? Like, what makes you think that, you know, this should be something we should bring inside? But they do. They put it on a frying pan. It's not melting. They put it, what else did they do? They did like 3 other things to it and like nothing was killing it. They realized that they couldn't burn it. So that's when it starts hatching.
I love that it like opens up into like a little like Jack. And I love that it says, Dada. And the fun police guy then looks at it, he's like, and then he goes, I'm gonna kill Dad.
So okay, so Jack can have babies.
I don't know.
So in the snowman world, men and women snowmen can have babies.
Ooh, so it is like they're asexual.
Asexual.
Like plants, they're plants.
Yeah, but then why does he get all excited with the women?
That's true. Maybe because it doesn't have a carrot down there?
Well, interesting. But then how does he have a
That
baby
would've been-
then? So how does a baby get inserted into a snowman?
Junior. Arnold Schwarzenegger Jr. Yeah, I don't know. That whole scene, I guess, what makes no sense is falling into antifreeze killed him in the first one. But for some reason in this one, maybe what they were doing at that lab that they never told us anything about, maybe if there was some exposition, they're like, we're going to create this for, dude, they should have done something with like the army. Could you imagine if we had a ton of killer mutant snowmen out in Iraq? You know, that'd have been something.
So another hot place. Well, so another hot place would be a good scene for snowmen. I mean, you could have said Alaska. You could have said Iceland. You could have said Antarctica. You know, North Pole. No, let's go to another very hot place.
Well, I don't think we're fighting anybody in North Pole. I don't think we're waging war on Santa.
What's that movie? The something Claus. Wasn't there a horror movie with something Claus? I forget what it's called.
Oh, I don't know, but the new movie with Mel Gibson's coming out.
Yeah.
When the
Hitman
for Sin. It does look good. It really does. But yeah, so this whole scene.
So do you think the scientists put the embryos in him?
No, I don't think the scientists. What I'm saying is they did it in a sense of because they don't want the antifreeze because it'd be so easy. Like if let's say if they did use it for like a war in Iraq or Antarctica or Iceland or Greenland. And let's say that happened. Maybe they'd be like, oh, let's just go to Wikipedia. Oh, Snowminton, they use antifreeze. So like, we're going to change it. It's not antifreeze. It's we'll find out later. But maybe for some reason, antifreeze makes them multiply like gremlins. I don't know. But do they grow? Like that's what I want to know. Like, what if that would have been a cool scene too? If you saw them all like go form together to make another one,
right? Correct.
Yeah, but it was just stupid.
Again, that would be like a Sandman. Like he has the same qualities as Sandman. But see, now we find out later on, there's like a 1,000 of these little creatures. Where'd they come from? Was he having babies all this time?
Or maybe it was a scene that they cut, which I don't know why they would have cut it, but maybe they knew what was happening, and then each of them were rolling into the antifreeze, throwing up another one. And just like kind of like
so it's important for like the writers and the people filming the movie to know what's going on, but for the audience, it's not that important.
Like in Gremlins too, they're taking pictures of each other, the water, everything, to just keep forming more and more.
Yeah,
because there was a point I'm like, okay, there's a lot of these.
How about the fact that Gremlins 2, they in this movie they throw one of the balls in a blender? That's from Gremlins.
I know. Yeah,
you know
exactly the exact same thing. So Manners takes it upon himself to go to the shed, and when he's there he finds a ton. Dude, again, how did they get there that fast? I don't know, but there's a million of them, and I love when he's on the phone with them. They're warning him about what's happening, and there's one like on the wall, and he like puts his finger on it. It's not like it jumped on him because these things don't move at all. He like just puts his finger near it and he's like,
You know, this movie takes place in what, like 3 days? Like, you know, they arrive on the island. And Jack only became Jack like in the second day, right? Pretty much like probably the second day, if not the third day. So again, all these little creatures, it was impossible for him to make.
Oh no, I know. That's why I think it has to be my flawless theory that they all rolled into the antifreeze themselves and just continue to vomit more and more and more. But I don't know if they had a hatch. Like, I don't know how they could have all hatched and got into that shed to, you know, eat up Manners that quick.
Maybe the Colonel's in on it. Maybe he's working with the scientists.
I did think something like that at one point. because I thought he was gonna get. We'll get to his scene in a little bit. So this is the part that I was talking about. Like Sam now, after all this, he is like catatonic. He is like sitting like a little kid on the stove. And again, the wife, the buddy's wife, is like, "I'm gonna kill you." And then the greatest part of of this was shocking because you thought Sam was gonna be like the hero the whole time.
Yep.
And his wife, she steps up. She builds the stupidest costumes I've ever seen. Like the
again,
body armor.
A strainer. The friend was wearing a strainer on his head. You're going to tell me this wasn't filmed at someone's house?
Oh,
a strainer.
I know that. And the fact that we know Jack can go through anything because they were going to caulk everything up. Couldn't Jack just throw ice cubes through the little holes?
Of course. Like what? I don't know what they were trying to protect themselves from.
And why doesn't Colonel think? That's why I thought Colonel was in it too. Because from this and the next scene, he's just standing there in his fancy all white. He changed into an all white suit. So from when all this happened, he was in his yellow suit.
Yep.
He was in a snowman costume, and then he changes into an all white suit. That is the progression of the Colonel.
I think he might be part of it.
So one part you had to laugh a little bit on at the little montage they did. So we cut to see all the little Jack Frosts. They're having the time of their lives. One is seen drinking, swinging on chandeliers, skateboarding.
Come on, Gremlins did a chandelier.
Same thing.
Same thing. But yeah,
exactly.
Skateboarding. This is so ridiculous. Yes, it's silly. You know what? I would have preferred more of that of these little critters than anything else. Because then you know, again, even though it's a Gremlins critters knockoff, it's funny. You know, like the scene. But the problem is, again, it looked like really look like towels. They look like white hotel towels in a ball with and really just horrible. And the teeth were so bad. So there was a little bit of puppeteering here when they were eating the fingers and dragging the arms. So like the best was the teeth on some of them were like sideways. Like they couldn't even fix the teeth because they probably did one scene of grabbing the fake arm and dragging it. And they're like, "Oh, I didn't have the camera rolling." So they did it again, didn't fix the teeth because the teeth were crooked on a sun. But some of those are like so insane. The whole part. And again, Sam is dumb. Sam's buddy is dumb enough to wear a colander on his head, but he's even dumber to look inside of a Christmas tree. Like, what is that? Like you hear, oh, something fell. I'm not going to walk, but that's what white people do in these movies. They get closer to the sound. Yeah. Now this took place during Christmas. This is Christmas, right around this time. Oh, see, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, that's why it's our Christmas sequel. It's not like it's Jack Frost in July. No. Well, I'm thinking it's a snowman, so it's Christmas time. I didn't, there was no indication it was Christmas until that scene. Well, no. What are you talking about? They did Jingle Bells on karaoke, scene 2. Oh, that's the only song they know. I think that would have been even funnier if they were singing Jingle Bells and it wasn't even, that kind of movie. Considering they wore Halloween costumes, one would think it could be during October. It's true. Oh my gosh. So then from here on out, it just gets crazy. So Sam's buddy, I just mentioned, he like looks into the tree like a moron. And then the fact that his weapon is a shop vac and he's carrying around and he catches one. But what's that going to do? Like it's water. It's not going to seep right out. Well, again, they're mutant snowmen. Oh, I guess he could have sneaked out. That'd have been good if he caught it. It goes in, he opens it up. It's not there. Then it's not. Because weren't you expecting one of them to die? Like I thought the couple was donezo. The friend couple, I thought they were going to die. They should have. They should have died a long time ago. Now, look, I have a shop vac, and sometimes when things are a little big, they can't get in there. How is a snowball going up that vacuum? There's no way. There's no way it's going up there. And did you notice how big the words were on the shop vac? That said suck and blow. They were like size 72 font, like huge.
And you just saw it so big, and he flipped the switch and then shot it into the Tupperware, right? Is this one? It was Tupperware, or was this into the?
It was like a container. Yeah.
Okay.
But so do you think that Sam brought it in a suitcase to the shop vac?
Oh God. Honey, what's that? And he had it like put into like one of those like things that carries your tuxedo, but it looks all gay.
Something that I can't imagine a tropical island having a shop vac.
Why, they don't make messes? Why wouldn't they have a shop vac? Wait, so you're saying they have no shovels, no shop vacs?
Have you ever seen a shop vac at an island? You've been to an island ever?
When I arrive, I just want my first like drink with an umbrella, and I would say, "Excuse me, can you show me to the room with all the shop vacs?" Right here, sir. So then we get cut to the colonel, and this is why I was like, "Oh my God, this colonel's probably like." I thought he was in on it because he was surrounded by all of them, and I'm like,
"Yep."
They're not really looking at him. Like Mohawk just like kind of looks at him. Man, I was hoping we got 2 cuts of Mohawk. Then at first I'm like, oh, the colonel's going to fall on him, but nothing. But again, he's telling the stories about like the Punjabis. He's like, yeah, I was captured by the Punjabis, but I'm like, why are we doing this bit again? It's the same story from the beginning. I'm like, nobody needs to hear. I'm like, just kill this guy already.
No, you're 100%. I really thought he was like wrangling them up and like he was like marching there with an army. Like that was like, I really thought he was the bad guy.
So again, a great line in this movie, like kind of like what the buddy said when he was like, oh, good, I wasn't going to come. But so when Anne gets to the bar and the girl comes out, she's like, oh my God, my friends, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, what's your name? My name's Amanda, but my friends like to call me. And she's like, she like snaps her out of it. It was like an airplane-ish, like those kind of lines. But I did kind of like that. But this whole part, when we find out, when she sees all the snowball little jacks around, and she takes a drink and throws it and starts melting. What'd you think really was happening? I just thought, man, I'm like, oh, alcohol.
I don't. I thought there was something because it looked like it was red on the outside of the mug. So I thought there was something, not alcohol, but I thought I really had no clue what was in there. I didn't even think it was a drink. I was just confused what was going on. So yeah, I didn't even think anything. But I mean, here's a question I have. Now these are snowballs. Why do they bleed?
Oh, dude, this is like the ongoing. Why did dolls bleed? I don't know why they bleed at all. The fact that I thought they would just melt.
Correct.
How do they have blood?
Correct. Right.
Jack doesn't bleed. We see Jack.
That's what I mean.
Bleed.
And not at all. So why are these like? I mean, what to try to show grossness when they're in a blender and all that stuff? Like, I mean, like, but really, like, why are they bleeding? They all like explode with like guts and like stuff. Yeah,
that is true. No, that. So then we find out from when they bring it back to the bartender and they say, oh, what's in this drink? He's like, oh, that's the island daiquiri. Better?
Much better. See, good. Sometimes you got to practice a little bit. So that was good.
Yeah. Thank you. So then when he goes through the ingredients, like saying what's in it, and like bananas, and she stops and she's like, oh, don't we forget Jack? He bled into the antifreeze. And Sam's allergic to bananas, and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
This is such a reach. It's like ridiculous. Oh,
but here's a great scene. I watched it twice, this part, because it's so true. I'm not saying anyone wants to go to it, but if you go to the part right here when they're doing the experiment with the snowball in the blender and they drop the banana in, they drop the drink in, dude, you can see before they hit it, before it starts, you can already see the blood on the bottom. The blood's already in there. Again, we know the snowball doesn't really bleed. That's movie magic. But they could have like maybe tucked it like inside the ball or something. But there's like blood in the bottom that you see go up. Like
they could have put like snow on the bottom or something white just to cover it. Yeah, I
didn't even try.
Yeah,
but I did almost vomit when I saw the buddy's wife. When they were biting the bananas, I'm like, I don't need to see that. I wish they would have just found a bin of, hey, look at this bin from yesterday with all the bananas, because they probably already have a ton of bananas already peeled. We don't need to watch them do that.
Why would they already be peeled? They turn brown right away when you peel a banana.
I don't know, freeze them or something. I just don't want to see them put their mouths on bananas. Now, if this was an earlier scene, or we had the girls from the beginning of the movie,
Okay, all right.
now that's movie magic. That'll keep people in their seats. And Jack would have went nuts.
Well, would he though? Because I mean, again, he's been horny like a few times this movie, but he goes for the kill. No, I mean, if you could turn to water, you can kind of like hide anywhere. You can do whatever you want, like he does with the ice cubes. I mean, I don't know.
And I said before, I made a joke about the carrot because he didn't have a carrot down there. He could make an icicle. He can make it as big as he wants.
An icicle. See, there you go.
Choose like a girthy one, or maybe he can't decide that, and it's really small, and he's nervous, or maybe he's married and he's like, I can look, but I can't touch.
Yeah, but if he made an icicle, where's he going to put it? I don't think a girl snowman has anything down there.
I don't know why. But if they made a sequel to this movie and he had a wife, oh my god,
please
I'd flip out. So then at this part, they have a banana daiquiri, super soakers. And then did you notice some of the effects sounded like machine guns? They were shooting the super soakers and you heard like, they
made it like a military, like
music. Yeah, it was like watching old military movies, black and white. Yeah.
It's like they're trying to make it very dramatic and like which is ridiculous.
I did like the rest of the movie. Like I just like Jack's lines the rest of the movie. But when there's one left crying that's like all mangled and Jack picks it up, like a real touching moment.
Did you cry?
I did a little bit, but the thing I gotta say is talking about a snub for like the Oscars, an actual snowman cried.
Well, so he was not upset about the other ones that died. The 1,000 other that died, he was only upset about that one.
That was the youngest.
And if a snowman cries, wouldn't it like turn to ice right away?
He can decide all that. He's a mutant.
Okay.
He can choose what it is. It could have been like just ice cubes dripping down. But no, the fact that he did that and he was just like so pissed. And he goes, now it's killing time. And the next scene, again, I think it was kind of cheap because you like in these movies, especially all horror movies, you like when you have like the individual kill scenes, like so-and-so goes off, gets killed. But when we see that the colonel and the bartender is standing there and he's like, as soon as you get on the horn, make sure you call up to the thing. Well, again, they don't have phone lines. So I don't know why he said that anyway. And I think he was on a phone, which made... Was he on a phone?
He was.
Okay, this is stupid because how do you get? Oh no, Manners got it back up. No, that's fine. No, Manners went. That's why he was in the shed.
Oh, they didn't show him though. Get it back up though.
Well, they didn't show a lot in this movie.
Oh man,
they left it all out.
So the second big detail that they don't want to tell the audience what's going on.
But in that scene was and then you just see Jack fly in, slice the bartender's throat. Oh no, dude. It looks so bad, but it was kind of cool when the colonel's talking and you see the icicle go through the back of his head and you can clearly see it's just a rubber mask. They like held on. They should have like cut it like a second earlier, but it was just like.
Yeah, no.
He looked like a pig with the apple in his mouth.
Ouch.
Or a British guy with tea in his mouth. I don't know.
Oh, there you go. See, that's better.
Crimpets, maybe biscuits. But, So the next scene is that makes no sense. So all of this happens again. A lot of this movie does make sense, but in this scene, all these people are dead. Wouldn't they just like be held up in their rooms, relaxing? No, Sam's buddy and his bitch wife are picking up body parts with no gloves on.
Yeah, I know.
He's picking them up and putting them in bags. And then at that moment, she's like, oh, it's past midnight. It's our wedding day.
Why are they doing that? Like, why are they picking up what's the point at that point?
I don't understand. I don't understand at all. What do they get out of it? If it was in their room, maybe, hey, let me get a dead limb off my.
What, are they still planning on doing something in that room after all this death and carnage? They're going to like, hey, it's our wedding. What? I mean, that's a little creepy.
Yeah. But I do love when he's like, let's just get married right now. It's not like they had a ton of people there anyway. Just Sam and Anne were the only other people attending this wedding. No out of town guests or anything. But I love when Jack just pops out and he goes, I now pronounce you totally fucking dead. And then I thought they were going to die, right? Didn't you expect one of them
100%.
to get it?
100%.
Ice cube through the back or something.
Yeah.
But no. And then we just get right in the next scene is Sam's wife in the kitchen. And I love when he walks in the picture I have behind me, he's just like, I'm here to kill the bitch that killed my family. And he's just ready to throw down. And dude, again, you know what's funny? Second Star Wars reference, but it's the same thing. When Jack surrounds her with like the 4 ice walls.
Don't they run into the freezer first? They ran in the freezer.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
So first they ran in. First of all, you have a killer snowman. You're gonna run in the freezer.
That is true.
Wouldn't that be the last place you would go into though?
Yeah, that's
a
like
freezer.
That's like if Freddy Krueger was chasing you to go take a nap. Well, I guess you'd have to take a nap. That makes no sense. That's a really bad analogy. Maybe if Jaws is chasing you, don't go in the water.
Yeah, you go in the water, right? Correct. Like you're gonna hide from Jaws in the water, in the ocean. That's basically what it is. So they're hiding in a freezer from a snowman.
Yeah, that was so stupid. That was
okay. So right now, so this part could have been cool. You know, I thought when they're building up the snow walls and with the icicles and one cutter, right?
Yes.
Okay, she should be dead.
Oh, I was hoping when he like formed around her, and it was like he went into his body form. I was hoping like some blood or something. I'm like, that's cool. Because obviously we're not vested into these characters. We're not going to do another one. It's not like people would have left the movie theater like, oh my God, they killed Anne?
Right.
Anne?
Not one likable character. Like I said, if he killed everybody, that would have been great. But yeah, so like she should have been filled with holes, bleeding everywhere. Not the case.
But I did like that she was talking shit while she was getting the ice. She's like, you should have heard your baby scream, Jack. They screamed so much. That was cool. It reminded me of the Stallone movie we did, Escape Plan 3, when Devin Sawa was just getting his ass kicked and just still talking so much shit to him.
Now, so Jack randomly had all those babies. Can't he have babies again, like randomly?
I guess he has to find antifreeze.
Well,
I'm sure he can find it.
I'll say it can't be that difficult to find antifreeze. So, I mean, he really shouldn't be that worried that all these babies died because he's, what is he, like a mouse? What animal has a lot of babies at once?
I think a mouse. But no, maybe it was it's his first litter, man. Special, you know? You don't want to lose him again.
That's true. All right.
The fact that like we see Jack there, and after we think Anne's dead, we see Sam again. It would have been great to see Sam a little bit changed before this. He like gets out of his catatonic state. He has a friggin' bow and arrow, which you saw he was horrible with earlier, and a friggin' banana, a whole banana tied to the end of it. So if you're allergic to a banana, I don't think you're allergic to the peel.
I was going to say he didn't even peel it, so like that should not have counted.
Yeah,
that was dumb. That was lazy writing on their part.
Oh, and then it just goes right through his heart, and he's like, "Ah, shit."
And if you're allergic, like, do you just die right away like that? Like the way he dies?
Maybe he didn't have an EpiPen.
That's true. He didn't have an EpiPen. So stupid. I mean, like, Death by Banana. I mean, seriously, that is like the dumbest. I mean, it's a dumb movie, but that is such a bad like ending for the snowman.
So before I get into an ending that I might have liked, so the next scene is just Anne and Sam like walking to the beach, like
walking towards the ocean. Where are they going?
I know.
He's carrying her towards the ocean.
Well, maybe they're walking home. But the end scene, so we talked about, you kind of like talked about it a little bit earlier, but we see like this really shitty looking 3D fake boat. Like it's really terrible. And then we get like the stereotype, you know, Asian,
Japanese dubbing.
Yeah.
Yep.
oh my God. He's like, I don't even know what they're saying before it. Because I was kind of like out of it. Because I'm like, wait, why is this happening right now? You just see like Godzilla, and you see the biggest carrot. And how big was that carrot? It must have been.
It was big. It was bigger than the boat.
Yeah, so it must have been like a 200-foot carrot. Where the hell does that come from? How did Jack turn into that?
And why were they saying Godzilla? They saw the carrot. Clearly, it was not. Clearly, it was not Godzilla.
Oh my gosh!
And then the last scene in the end credits.
There's one after that.
Oh, you didn't know?
Oh, tell me.
So it's not much. So the at the end, and only because I heard about it when I was doing some review. So I fast forward. I did not stay for the credits, but they show you the freezer. You hear them like screaming, help us get us out. And the camera slowly, dramatically zooms in. I mean, when I say slowly, it could be like 3 minutes of slowly going towards the door. You hear them, and then there's silence. And they froze to death, basically. Like they don't open the door. You just see the camera slowly zooming into the door.
Who froze? The other couple?
Friends. The married couple, the newlyweds.
Wait, so when
they went into the freezer.
No, right? I know that, but so Anne and Sam, they're like, "Hey, let's forget our friends and walk into the water."
Correct, and they left their friends in there, and because you hear her banging and like yelling, "Help! Get us out!" And then you don't hear her anymore as the camera gets closer and closer.
Wow. If that was in a movie theater and I stayed for that, I'd be standing ovation.
I mean, yeah, but standing ovation. But you know what, though? If they're going to plan on killing them, they should have killed them a long time ago.
So I know we were just calling her annoying lady. Her name is annoying. If somebody's listening and you have this name, we're sorry. Marla.
Oh.
Marla Hooch.
Wait, Hooch?
No. So that was Jack Frost too. The only thing I want to say about, because this is so much to unpack, was I would have loved, I know it'll look really crappy, but why couldn't we get like a Roddy Piper, Keith David fight scene, like with Jack and Sam? It would have been bad, but it would have been so much better than a banana through the heart.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? For a buildup, that's like the end thing. It definitely should have been some kind of fight. This movie, I mean, I hate bashing it as much as I am. It really was a hard movie to finish. It was bad after bad after bad. Like it was.
So I think I probably know, but what would you rate this movie? Like,
I would say, and we didn't talk about this kill, by the way. So after out of 5 frostbites, if it's possible to give it 0, I would, but I will give it a 1 because you got to give it a scale. 1 frostbite, because there was a scene where when Jack made everything cold, there was a girl tanning, and she died of frostbite because you didn't remember that scene.
No, I remember when he froze everything, but I don't remember somebody dying.
There was a woman on a recliner outside tanning, and all you see is her turning blue from her toes all the way up when he turned everything. Yeah, so
see, that would have changed the whole movie if I saw that. So I agree. I mine same thing. 1 out of 5, and I think I gotta go with my buddies. I gotta go with Little Jack's skateboarding. The fact that they were skateboarding.
5 Little Jack skateboarders.
1 out of 5.
Yikes!
So that was Jack Frost 2: Revenge of the Killer, Mutant Snowman, and so this is our last sequel for 2020. We talked about it earlier. So, man, we covered so many amazing movies, interviewed so many amazing people. We have a couple more interviews left. So this is going to be the first time we're doing something different because we got a sequel that is, 38 years in the making, 37 years in the making. So Grizzly was an original movie that came out right after Jaws to go on that whole thing. It did really well. At one point, it was the highest grossing independent film until I forgot what came out to like knock it off. But anyway, so they made a sequel. It stars a young Charlie Sheen, Laura Dern, and George Clooney. Michael Clooney wrote that. Little coincidence. But yeah, so the movie doesn't act. It's 37 years until it's finally going to be released for people to see. It comes out January 9th. but I had to, because I've been following this for like almost a year now. I had to reach out to the producer, Suzanne Nagy. So I'm going to interview her next week. That interview will come out next week. We're going to do our review with now 5-time guest Chris Egan. He's going to join us for it. But we're going to do like a little review about the movie, but it's going to be like spoiler free that we're just going to put on YouTube. But then on the January 14th, we'll have our full review, give people, 5-6 days to watch it. And I'm excited because to have the opportunity to watch a movie that's not out yet, I don't know about you, man. I feel like we made it. This is like sort of big.
We had
time.
the big time. This is big time. This is big time. I just want to say again, this is the best movie we possibly could have watched to end 2020. Like this fits in the way the year has been. This movie is right up there. I would not want to end on a good movie, on a good note. You got to end on a bad note, and this movie was perfect.
Yeah, so Suzanne Nagy next Thursday, then Monday, an interview that we're not holding back. It's like, again, we got so lucky. We reached out to so many people, and just so happened people all got back to us all at one time, and we were going to say no and put it off. So some of these interviews are from months ago, like way back in like May, I think it was May. I interviewed DB Sweeney, who's like talk about a legend, man. 8 Men Out, Cutting Edge, Fire in the Sky, Spawn, 2.5 Men, and he has like such a connection to like the Estevez Sheen family, and so that'll be Monday. That's going to be such a fun interview for you guys to check out. So man, I know that's a lot to unpack, but again, thanks for listening. Don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night and Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas.
Merry, Merry Christmas, baby. I hear you've been fooling around again.